I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, December the 3rd, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef is a software that's designed by cattle producers for cattle producers. It simplifies feeding, performance, and health data recording. Performance Beef subscribers always have access to their historical data, and if they need help retrieving it, they just get a hold of them at Performance Livestock Analytics. For more information, get a hold of them at performancelivestockanalytics.com. Also, Enid Livestock Market in Enid, Oklahoma. Dakota Davis wants you guys to know what's going on there. They're going now permanently, or for the time being, to a 2-day sale. Going to have their feeders and calves on Wednesday. They'll have their cows on Thursday, both starting at 9 a.m. So just plan on that going forward here. Here on Wednesday, they're going to have 1,500 head at Enid there. They're going to have 410 head of yearling cattle from Jay Smith. He's got 2 loads of black heifers, weigh around 750. 2 loads of mixed steers weighing 8 1/4. And a load of mixed heifers weighing 775. Alan Patterson's got 3 loads of yearling steers there weighing 800 to 900 pounds. And Sherry Sturgeon's got a load of steers to weigh 950. On the calf side, they'll have 500 calves, including 200 head that are 70 days weaned, steers and heifers both weighing 400 to 500 pounds. They'll have about 600 head of cows on Thursday, including 50 Red Angus AI bred heifers, 47 black bred heifers due to calve in March, and 96 head of heavy bred northern origin cows. So be sure and check them out. Then they'll have a lot of packer cows and older bred cows and things there. And those northern origin cows will be some older, short and solid mouth to a little older there, but still have a lot of life in them, guys. You can check Enid Livestock Market out on DVAuction.com if you can't get over there to the sale. A broken tool, and that's what a lot of people are calling these CME cattle futures anymore. A lot of the industry is tiring of the volatility of these CME cattle futures. It's just, you can't hardly use them as a tool to protect you from risk, because they are so risky themselves. They've got to outlaw the algorithms. And if you guys hear about the algorithms but not sure what they are, those commodity brokers that are there in Chicago, and you think this stuff is automatic, you can click something here and they get it over there. But if you're right there in Chicago or nearby, you've got a little bit of a head start on everybody else. And of course, all the orders come in automatically now through the computer systems. But if they're right there local with high-powered internet and those computer systems, they can sense an order coming in. And then they'll place a little order right in front of it to take advantage of it. And it might not be that big a deal, but you do it all day, every day, it adds up to quite a bonus there to those local commodity brokers. And it's messing up the whole program. It might work fine in some of those money markets and things that they do in Chicago, but when it's cattle futures, it's a shallow pool. There's not that many people that play it, really. I mean, it seems like a lot to us, but we're in a real small industry, guys. And these algorithms, they've got them winded in there where they get a few orders coming in one way or the other, and then they just bang, bang, bang like dominoes. They just run it one way or the other. And this thing is just whipsawing back and forth like crazy. And it's taking advantage of those that want to use it. And I realized the board was up good on Tuesday. That's great. I mean, it was great. Your feeder cattle were up nearly the limit. So that's fantastic. They needed that to make up for some of those big down days. And live cattle were up good too. But it's just not healthy. And it's not a healthy medium to use as a risk management tool. You know, especially for guys that are turning cattle out. You can get an LRP and take it, know where you're at, rest easy. But you can't tell me that these clearinghouses that are selling those LRPs aren't using the board to hedge their risk. They're just doing it in bigger bundles. But it's not working here. Everybody's getting tired of it. They hate to have to get the nerve up every morning to look and see what the board's doing. And you know, it shouldn't be that way, guys. But if you watch the daily livestock report like I did on Tuesday, you saw where year-to-date cattle slaughter is down 6.7%, or around 1.8 million head. Of course, the carcasses are a lot bigger. The carcasses overall, all the carcasses, not just the steer carcasses, but overall all the carcasses are up 3% on weight, which results in beef production that's down, but it's only down about 3.9% instead of 6.7% if our carcasses were the same size that they have been in the past. But I tell you what, it's we've still got our tightest numbers of cattle to come. Coming this spring and summer, we're going to have the tightest domestic numbers of cattle that we've seen, and you know, and it's going to go way over the 75 years. I mean, it's be the smallest you can believe. Of course, by then I'm sure we'll have those Mexico cattle coming in, and they'll take some of it off, but we're still going to be in really tight supplies. And there's been a lot more heifers kept back and bred and still keeping back than what's been advertised. There's a lot of bred heifers for sale, a lot more than usual. So they had kept those heifers back. They are putting them up for sale, but they'll go into somebody's hands, and they're keeping a lot of heifers now. Every sale barn you see, not just up in the northern plains where the best cattle live, but also in the Midwest, even down in the southern plains, the heifer offering at these auctions is just so much smaller than the steer offering. It's just continuing to get that way. Eventually we'll pick up in about 3 years, probably we'll pick back up, and our numbers won't be as big as they have been in the past, but they'll be considerably more than they've been here lately. And then we'll see the market come down to stay for a good while, and it may be a long wait before that cycle comes around the next time, guys. I want to tell you about some sales that are coming up here on DVAuction that you want to be looking at. Been telling you about the T-Heart sale, the high altitude female sale. It's going to be Saturday, December the 6th. It's at La Garita, Colorado at 2 o'clock Central. It'll be 1 o'clock Mountain Time there, but 2 o'clock Central. They're going to be offering one of the biggest offerings of bred heifers that you'll see in the country. Over 1,000 head on offer, guys. They know pap testing. It started right in that area. They've been doing it for years. They've developed these heifers and have been using pap testing on their bulls for many, many years. If you're going to be grazing cows at altitude, you need to get heifers and young cows that are built for that kind of work, running in the altitudes. You can't believe the difference. They've also got a string of 3-year-old cows coming from their Oklahoma division. These are going to be Sem-Angus cows, modern type cows, and bred heifers, guys. If you're interested in there, be sure and get on DVAuction to the T-Heart high altitude female sale on Saturday, December the 6th. Also, one we've been telling you about, the Red Dot Farms Red Hot Female Sale. They're going to be taking bids through Thursday. So they started on the 1st and they're going to go through the 4th of December. It's an online sale. No pressure there. I like live auctions. Some people like timed auctions where they don't have any pressure on them. They can go in there, look over the offerings, decide what they want to bid, and bid their bid with no pressure, and not some whiz-bang auctioneer trying to run them and his ring man's trying to do it too there. They can just bid what they want, but you got to pay attention whenever those lots close, because you don't want to get knocked out there at the end. But they've got over 140 of Santa Gertrudis influenced fall first calf heifer pairs, spring-born weaned heifer calves. There'll be replacement quality, fall bred heifers, and yearling heifers, replacement heifers there. It's out of Belen, New Mexico. The Sanchez family down there have been doing it for 100 years, guys. Check them out. Another sale that's coming up is the Greg Red Angus Ranch and Todd Weber Charolais. They're partnering up on a sale. It's going to be in Carter, South Dakota on Saturday the 6th, and it starts at 1 o'clock Central Time. They've got some really fancy cattle there. On the Red Angus kind, they got 4 yearling bulls, 15 2-year-old bulls, 20 18 months old bulls, 10 registered heifers, 20 commercial bred heifers. That's all in the Red Angus part. For Todd Weber's Charolais, he's got 9 fancy Charolais bulls there. You'll love the EPDs on them. Check them out, guys. It is backed by proven maternal lines and built to work in the pasture and on the scales. It'll be on DVAuction coming up Saturday the 6th. Let's talk about your board for Tuesday. And it was up big, but there's no way to know which way it could go. Nothing fundamentally that makes any sense on how this deal works. December live cattle futures up 427 at 218.47. February live cattle up 487 at 220.80. Your back months on live cattle up 460 to up 532. A lot of people say that the drive in the board on Tuesday partly could be blamed on the upcoming expiration of the options on Friday, so may or not have a big effect on it. But your January feeder cattle contracts were up 880, nearly the limit, at 329.87. March was up 840 at 323.92. Your back month's up 845 to up 915. Tell you what, let's look at your grains. March corn up 4 3/4 cents a bushel at 449 3/4. January beans down 4 cents a bushel at 11.24. Hard red winter wheat for March up 6 1/4 cents at 5.33. Tell you about your fat cattle trade. Just a little dribble of trade. Direct basis in your negotiated trade areas. Iowa sold about 200 head on Tuesday, and it were mixed cattle. Usually they sell a little bit off the market, but it was mixed steers and heifers. They sold dressed at $343. That is $13 higher than the top of the last dress market that we had there before Thanksgiving, guys. These fat cattle are a lot higher this week. Kansas sold 150 head. And it was actually Monday evening that they sold, or after the 2 o'clock deadline to turn that in. They brought 215 live. We did have our market maker, market finder there at Stockman's Livestock Market, the biggest brick and mortar fat cattle auction that we have in this country. Thank God that we have them. It's in Yankton, South Dakota. They had 1,400 head in overnight. They had 1,950 head total for the fed cattle auction there in Yankton. It was sharply higher. Conventional fed cattle sell from 214.50 to 221. That 221 was on 78 head of black baldy heifers weighing 1482, a lot of primes on them. That conventional fed cattle market is $11.5 to $12.5 higher. About program cattle, drug-free or non-implanted cattle selling from 213.50 up to 230. Wow, they sold fat cattle for 230 in Yankton, South Dakota. That 230 was on a half a load of black steers weighed 1754. I thought they didn't like the big cattle. The big cattle grade well, and so that was pretty good. Those program cattle were $6.5 to $19 higher. Tell you what, talked to Gary Marks there. He knows the business. He goes up there and watches the sale every week. Shares that information with me so I can share it with you. He said the cattle were mostly full, so that adds to the market a little bit more. Maybe could have been even a little bit higher. He also told me that the Tyson buyer there, being that the nearby Tyson plant was announced to be closed, they bought 4 big loads of fed cattle there, but did not push the market on them. Talk about your box beef cutout values, sharply lower on Tuesday. You know, they were up, surprisingly up a little bit on Monday, but just down big on Tuesday. Choice cuts down 417 at 364.72. Selects were down 7.10 at 350.78. Maybe the Packers decided to call that market that much lower because they want to get the edge off of this fat cattle trade this week. Talk about your slaughter. So far for the week, just the first 2 days of the week, estimated cattle slaughter 237,000. That is 8,000 less than this point last week, 5,000 less than the same point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. You might want to consider Charolais genetics when you're looking to buy bulls here at your spring bull sales. Pounds matter and profit counts. You can increase your red meat yield and carcass weight with Charolais, reduce the days on feed with Charolais influence, get more dollars per head no matter what the market is, and do it with industry acceptance. For more information, go to poundsmatter.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They're working to protect your livelihood, guys, and they can handle any insurance you have, any insurance need that you have on your farm or ranch. And sale barns, you got to check them out from the front door to the loadout chute there, guys. They can cover all your needs there, and you won't believe the savings. Real-time index by DVAuction, late Tuesday after your sales had all closed, sitting at 337.75 based on an 800-pound cash auction steer. You remember on Monday, your RTI was up over $9. On Tuesday, was up nearly $8. Just big-time gains here, guys, after that big drop that the feeder market had there right before Thanksgiving. But your steer tracker from DVAuction, which is the last 25 lots of 5 head or more that go in the RTI, was still quite a bit higher than your RTI at 344.60. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index come out. I told you on our last visit it was going to be up big. It was. Your CME feeder cattle index was up 1266 when it come out on Tuesday at 332.36. That also had something to do with your CME feeder cattle futures jumping there a bit, I bet. I want to tell you about some sales coming up here right away, commercial type sales that you want to check out. South Central Regional Stockyards in Vienna, Missouri has a feeder cattle special here. You can't believe how fancy some of those cattle are right in that little groove right in there around Vienna, Missouri. That's my good friends, the Patton family. They do a good job. Greg Ryken up at Yankton, South Dakota for his Wednesday feeder cattle sale is going to have about 3,000 head. You'll love the quality there. And then I want to tell you about a market up in Canada. It's Viking, Alberta. The Viking auction market there is hooked up DVAuction. They're going to have a special bread sale coming up on Thursday. My friend Darcy Sheets there, he works with them, a really good buddy of mine, and he shared that information with me. They've got 400 breads coming in for the regular sale on Thursday, including a complete dispersal of Red Angus and Simmental Cross due to Kev in March. Tell you what, that's going to be at Viking, Alberta, Canada, 10 o'clock a.m. on Thursday. Let's talk about your feeder cattle auctions that happened on Tuesday, your big ones. Of course, Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. They do a good job there, and they were having their pre-vac sale. So a lot of improved quality, bigger bunches. They'd been weaned a lot longer than normal and had more of them had shots in them, and it made a difference, but the market was just that much better too. But West Plains had 3,500 through the ring, another nearly 600 through their in-house video auction that they have every week with help from DVAuction there. The feeders through the ring sold $15 to $25 higher. The calves sold $30 to $40 higher, with spots as much as $50 higher than last week. Remember, it was a pre-vac sale, so that included with the market. And Dan Hill, my good friend that reports that market for the Missouri Department of Agriculture, said there was a lot of buyers that he hadn't seen for quite some time that showed up on Tuesday to bid on those good preconditioned calves. West Plains was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard livestock handling equipment. Stick out sale of the day. And you look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central, and you look at your best tested weights, and I left the changes on there, just the changes from the weighted averages, and you see how much sharply higher they were. Cannot argue a bit with Dan's call on that report. But they had 281 head of the 4-weight steer calves in West Plains. They averaged 457 with a weighted average price of 445.02. 531 head of the 5-weight steers averaged 544 at 412.69. There were 600 head of the 6-weight steers in Ozarks Regional Stockyard. They averaged 642, weighted average price 373.16, and 298 head of the 7-weight feeder steers averaged 727, weighted average price 348.39. Look at some of the heifers. 284 head of the 4-weight heifer calves averaged 454 at 398.84. 527 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 554 pounds with a weighted average price of 359.50. 344 head of the 6-weight heifers averaged 656 at 328.84. And 132 head of the 7-weight heifers averaged 730 at 314.53. Big time sale there for the weanback sale at Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. DVAuction broadcaster. Give you some of the other individual quotes that I picked out that I thought were very impressive from all over the country. How about Kimball, South Dakota? Kimball Livestock Exchange there. They can sell them heavy and they can sell them good. The Waring Ranch brought a lot of yearlings in there, including 56 head of 1,002-pound steers. Bring 335 and a quarter. Wow. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas? They sold 54 steers, weighed 723 at 375. Big time quote. How about Fallon Livestock, the other barn in Fallon, Nevada? Out there, they had some beef on dairy pee-wee steers there, guys. They're getting them in there, and they are bringing a big price. They had 57 head of 459-pound crossbred steer calves in there, bring 531.50. Wow. How about the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come from the flagship location of Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington, Kentucky. 66 steers, weighed 796, and bring 352.60. Thought they didn't like those cattle in the winter when they get to feeding them in the winter. Didn't bother them too bad that time. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.